Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining another episode of Sneaker Pimps Podcast with Coach Dan. Today, we're going to have a special guest. It's another GM in the Sneaker Pimps League, Jeremy Peschka. Jeremy joined our league 3 years ago, and in his first year, he did something no one has ever done before. As a rookie, he won the James Ward title. Now he's 6-4 this year, so he's proven that it wasn't a fluke, that he's a really good GM. It made him a legend in my book, the fact that he could come in and do that in his first year. He was born in Portland, Oregon, and now lives in Beverly Hills, California. He works for MGM, developing TV shows and movies. And a couple cool facts, he played professional Halo and the video game. I loved that video game. Only the first one. I wasn't a fan of the rest of them that came out. And then he also played professional basketball in Prague. So he played the game, and now he's a general manager, fantasy basketball. So without further ado, I'm going to add him to the call. I'm sure he's joining on now. There he is.
What's up, guys?
Hey, Jeremy, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Good, yeah. I called you. I mean, so we were actually supposed to have somebody else on, one of the other GMs. He no call, no show, and I thought, who would be good at just jumping in? And I was like, I know he works professionally in TV shows and movies, so I was like, maybe he could just jump in and wing it.
I'm always happy to jump in. I love being third, fourth options. It's good for me.
Nice. So what position did you play professional basketball in?
I played point guard. I played through high school, and then when I moved to Prague, I actually moved to Prague to study film. And they were like, "Hey, you should come play basketball, try out for the team." So I did that, and then made it. Was able to travel out throughout like Budapest and Slovakia and play basketball, which was great because I was a poor college student, so I got to travel for free.
That's awesome, dude. I need to go to Eastern Europe. It's on my. As soon as COVID goes away, my plan is to travel to Europe.
It's awesome. I mean, I'm hoping to move there eventually soon to Munich, but still waiting for COVID to get over to do that. So,
well, speaking of Europe, the NBA is full of European players now. We see some in Jokic and Doncic, the Greek Freak. So all who are featured in the All-Star game. So I just want to get your take right off the bat on who you think is going to win the All-Star game this weekend.
That's going to be Team LeBron, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you go off of analytics, if you go off of 538's Raptor model, they're at a 72% chance to win over Durant, and that's with Durant playing. Without him playing, I think it's like an 81% chance of them winning.
Yeah, well, let's look at the roster right here. So, yeah, I mean, first of all, it's the fact that Durant's not playing and LeBron is playing, which that's a huge deal. And then the fact that the LeBron gets to pick first every year, and he grabs the Greek Freak, and then Durant grabs Kyrie Irving, which is obviously just
It's smart. He's thinking the long game. He doesn't want Kyrie to miss 20 games to start the next season. He wants to win that title this season. He doesn't want any of that herbs and essence and fucking flat earth stuff.
Yeah, no, it would have been, if he didn't pick Kyrie, the relationship would have never been the same, because Kyrie would have not accepted such a thing. But then LeBron gets Steph Curry, and it's like, now you've got LeBron, Greek Freak, and Steph on the same team, and now it's just like out of control. So then Durant grabs Embiid, having a great year, good player. I don't have anything against the Embiid pick, but I think he should have gone with Doncic, because now maybe I favor Doncic because he just is so fun to watch. But by the fourth pick, I was like, this thing's over. It's not even – I don't need to watch the rest of this.
That's the thing is, like, they have so many people – LeBron has so many people that are more mobile, and he's quick, but he's not that quick. And so to spread the court, what are they going to do? Like, they have the Greek freak down low. Like, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, and so now you've got Luka and Steph who can hit threes all day. Nikola Jokic who can hit threes too.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron who's going to do both, and then you just have Giannis down low. From a depth perspective, I actually think that LeBron did better too.
Which is crazy because Durant had the final 2 picks of the starters and the first one of the reserves, and
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it's crazy.
He got Damian Lillard.
Well, that's just smart play, no matter where you are.
Yeah, I mean, he could have been a starter in my opinion. He got Sabonis, which is a good pick. Chris Paul, is just going to run the show out there. So I think we agree. I think everybody would agree. I would be surprised anybody that picks Team Durant. I don't see how unless if Kawhi Leonard just goes off.
But even then, wasn't Paul George also picked he was a lot of people were picked before him. Like, he was not one of the first reserves to be picked, which is crazy in my mind that I figured Durant would at least grab him for threes, rebounds, or something, but they just let him slide.
Yep. All right, so let's get down to business on our topic today. Our topic today is International Guasones, which is international love, but actually Guasonas actually means jokers in Spanish. I looked it up, and that makes sense because his star player is the Joker, Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
And he's 9-1 right now, Lep. He's having, some people are saying, a Hall of Fame year. I think it's obvious he's having a Hall of Fame year in points. There's nobody that's ever had a year like him in points. And there's no question. I don't even need to look through the history because I just know it.
I mean, I'm behind him. I'm second in points, and I think he's 2,000 more than me. It's ridiculous.
It is. I think that 10 years from now, when we talk about this year, it won't be COVID because last year was COVID, right? Because it just ruined it, the peak time of the year. I think it might be the amount of points Lep puts up. And we just started the history, right? Lep is actually the history person for our league. And I think that's what's going to go down in history is because he's got some players on there that are breaking out and they're just racking up points. And we're going to talk about them, like Norman Powell.
No injuries. It's just a multitude of things, just phenomenal for him.
Well, yeah, speaking of no injuries, it's going to become really interesting later when we compare him to the 2 teams that I think could beat him. Lep's only done 4 transactions all year. And you've actually done 0, which I found fascinating. I was like, 0. Well, Pat Dean, who sits in second, 2 spots in front of you, has done 47 transactions. And Kaza, who sits in third, has done 21.
And I'm guessing those are the 2 you think will be Lep.
Yes, I do. I do not think that your team has it. I think that Kaza, I'll explain it later. I don't want to ruin it. I think those teams, and I think one of them specifically actually has a real chance of beating him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any other team in this league has a chance now that I've done the research. He does have some weaknesses, but I don't think it can be done. I would be hard. Yeah, it's just, it might be the best team ever. I think it might be, but we're going to look into it and we'll see. But right up before we start, what's your take on Lep's team? Do you just looking forward to hearing more about it, or do you have a take already?
It's surprising that they've done so well. I mean, he's just had no injuries, and I think he's statistically across the board, he's doing phenomenal. I mean, usually if you see a lot of points, you see not necessarily a great field goal percentage, but he's still second in field goal percentage, top in points. It's not just a big man team, which usually that would equate to that, but it's not happening in his case. All his players are firing across the board.
Yeah, I know. All right, so let's start with how he's doing this week. This week he's playing the team I covered last week, Nos Nagahugu, who I think I would like to correct myself from last week. Last week I said that I thought that Nos would finish in 17th. I was absolutely wrong. He will finish in 18th place, and I actually am very confident in that. He will finish in 18th place. Foz will finish in 19th, and Pooping will finish in 20th. The 17th spot is going to get interesting, and next episode I might cover the 15th, 16th, 17th. Because Matt Dean's team, Swish, is not bad. They're not bad.
Yeah.
It's a playoff team.
He's right there.
Yeah, and he's got a good team. So there's other teams that I think will fall to that spot. But going back to Lep's playing nose. Go down to it right here. And he's up 7-2. And that's not going to change. The only category that might change is blocks. It's not even close, not even conversation. Lep's going to be 10-1. And Nose Negahugu is going to be 3-8. So that's kind of a quick one. So, but I think you'd assume that, given what we talked about last week. So then we look at the standings, or actually before we look at the standings, I wanted to quickly look at has he played a lot of good teams or bad teams? Because his only loss was to Pat in week 7. Well, last week he beat Joe, who's 5-5. He beat him 6-3. Week before, he won 8-1 against Pooping, expected. The week before, he beat my team, RKT, but we were actually having a lot of
injuries all year, though.
Injuries all year. Now we're picking up on a 2-game winning streak, and I think we're going to beat Coach O this week. And all due respect, he's got a good team. It's not like we're killing him, but I just see us pulling ahead. He beat us 7-1-1. So those are all average teams, Pooping bad, and Joe and my team average. But then he lost to Pat 7-2. And that raised some eyebrows. What did you think about that matchup?
I mean, it's what I think you're getting at is that it is a balanced team can beat him. I think somebody that – because he is a great team, but Pat has great pickups on the waiver – not just on the waiver wire, but just free agents. And I think that's really helped him. That's what helped him beat me. I mean, he got 80 points off of 6 pickups, which is just crazy to think about off those guys that get 10 minutes a game. And so I think – honestly, I think Pat could take him for the title or Kaza.
Okay.
Both well-balanced teams.
I think one of those people you're going to go, man, maybe they can't take them. Maybe they can't beat him. And you'll see later. And when I look at it a little deeper. So you have to ask yourself, was that a for real win, or did Pat Dean have a bunch of people playing that week? Like, I'll give you an example. Every time I played Wriggle in the playoffs, every single time I've ever played, and I've been doing this for 10 years, dude. Every time I've played him, he has his players all play 5 times in 1 week. Oh. All of them. And some players play like 8 times. I'm like, dude, are you playing 8 times in 1 week? Like, and my players will play like 3 games.
You get LeBron for 2.
And I actually was convinced for a long time, and I still am kind of convinced that Wriggle did the research to find the players that were going to play more games during the playoffs. Because
deep in the playoffs is so tough to account for. You got to have your pickups be that way.
And dude, I'm telling you, before the week started, I said he plays like 8 more games than me. I have no chance. I'm done.
Yep, unless you go off.
And so you maybe that happened against Pat. Maybe Lep had some players not playing well, but we'll look at it. Because what I'm going to be able to do is I looked at the whole season compared to Pat's, right? So that kind of gives you a better analysis. In week 6, he beat a 3-7 team, 5-3-1. Matt Dean's team. Told you he's not that bad. In week 5, he beat Paul, who's 6-4, 7-2. That was his best win against a good team.
But Paul's been